Hey everyone, welcome to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our weekly or monthly show, I should say, show on YouTube. I'm Mo from Mo's Game Table, and I'm joined by my co-host tonight, everyone's favorite Gimp with the limp, the GimpyGamer, Nate Rogers. Hey Gimp, how's it going?
Hello everyone, nice to see everybody again.
Doing good?
Awesome, as always.
You sound so enthused.
I am.
And we have the War Game Wizard from Oz, Kev Sharp from the Big Board. Hey Kev, how's it going?
Yeah, great. I'm great today. No complaints.
A couple of weeks from Christmas and everybody in the Christmas spirit already.
Where is my Santa hat?
Where is it? You got to get one of those little digital ones that goes on top of your head. So everybody,
have baubles on
you can have the little bells hanging off of it too.
Oh, you damn right. Yeah, I love
there you
bells.
go.
With bells on there.
So is everybody ready for the holidays? Everybody got their ornaments and trees and everything up, and their Santa list in, you know, what games you want, things like that.
Shoot, my house is full of young children. My Christmas list doesn't matter. It's all about what the kids want. But let's say Santa is well stocked and tucked into the garage and blankets covering everything. And I actually can't even finish filming right now because the spare bedroom has all the gifts tucked under my game table. So I can't get to it right now.
So
that's great.
Stigler's got the beer and peanuts out tonight, so he's ready.
All right, he is ready to roll.
We have beer and pretzels games, and we got beer and peanuts talk shows.
Yeah, exactly. We're a higher class bureau.
Exactly. They're fresh peanuts, I hope, not stale ones, right? Like you get at the bar. Although that would be fitting, because then we'd have the bar atmosphere.
Well, I'll tell you what.
What's that?
We're slack. We only got the tree up yesterday.
Oh, okay. We haven't put up our tree.
Dude, Mo, you're slacking.
Right.
Yeah, we kind of don't put up our tree usually. I mean, we used to do all that stuff, but then we kind of stopped doing it a couple of years ago. And I don't know if my wife's going to get in the mood to do it again, but we'll have to wait and see. She may do it. It may be like December 20th. And she'll be like, we need to put stuff up. It's like, really? Now? Okay.
For 5 days. Let's do it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And then
that's just depressing, man.
Well,
you need to have the tree up.
Well, if we do put up a tree, we usually put a small tree up. We don't put like the big. We had when we first moved here, we had like one of those 8-foot trees and stuff, and then we stopped doing that. We were like, this is just crazy. So we have one of those like 3 or 4 foot trees, and we use that because it's just me and her. So it's like, we don't need to do all the crazy stuff like you do when you have kids and stuff.
I'll tell you, having kids, it's like having cats. Because all of our delicate ornaments are at 4 foot and above on the tree.
Right.
Because anything that's down low has to be childproof because they come and swat and smack them all down to the floor. But it's been up for a while. The kids love it, Christmas decorations all out front. But our neighbor's kind of like Griswold, right?
Mm-hmm.
He even had his moment when he finally got done putting all those Christmas decorations up where he came out and did the, plugged it all in. So my few decorations out front look like nothing. It just looks like his kind of bled over into my lawn.
That's classic. Yeah, we live in kind of a cul-de-sac, and no one really does lots except for my wife. And she's all out and all in on this. She made the 20-year-old, the 18-year-old, and the 16-year-old finish decorating the tree last night with Christmas Carol whole shooting match, and they were like, but come on, we don't do that anymore. And she's like, decorate the tree.
You're crimping our style, Mom.
I loved it when I was a kid. I was the guy the kid that would sit in front of the tree. Like my brother and I, we would lay in front of the tree and we just kind of look at the boxes like, that one looks like it's for us. And that one, because we were twins, so we would look for the boxes that are in pairs, Yeah. Like, okay, if there's 2 of them, it has to be for us.
Funny. That's funny.
Or if it was small and like video game shaped, like, okay. But our folks got wise to that, and they would start, getting the clothing boxes because kids will pick it up and shake it around, and they would put like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the box, but they would have socks on each side of it. So we couldn't tell what was in the box. We're like, damn it. We'd open it, socks, and throw it to the side, and they're like, "No, you got to move the socks." Ninja Turtles, yay! You know, we were all excited. It was that and GI Joe when I was a kid.
They don't do it anymore. They're like, yeah, whatever. Here's my list. Just give me money.
Exactly. It's a lot
so
easier.
Charming. No. Hey, look at Stigler there. Partly, thanks for the partial credit, Stig. Is that kind of like a C? I get like a C rating on my recommendation. Partial credit, good effort. Thanks for trying.
So you got a copy of Last Stand. So it's going to be here at the end of the week. Nice. So you're like Santa Claus then to him, or at least partial Santa Claus.
Look at me. I'm saying, woohoo.
Kevin Claus.
Well, did you see I finally hit the big boy? I finally got it on the table. 1985.
I saw that.
I just put part 2 up this evening. And no.
Part 2 of the 99-part series.
Oh, it's going to be huge because it's a 5-turn game, and I'm not going to get through it. The first video that I'm actually playing the game, I only got through the air superiority phase. Right, I didn't even hit the part where it's moving units, and that took me something like an hour on camera that I had to edit down to about 40 minutes. So there's no way. It's going to take me a video just to do the Soviet turn. It's going to take me a video to do the NATO turn. It's going to be a lot going on with that thing.
It'll take you a video to do the air war, the air superiority phase. So I have a post on my blog about that someone else wrote that I posted, and it has a walkthrough on the air superiority. So if you get stuck, go check
printed it out.
Did you really? There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, I printed it out, and I was showing that because I printed out the sequence of play from Thin Red Line Games website, and then I printed out that air war one. I wanted to do the Excel sheet, but I didn't have the program on my computer to run it, so I just went with the sheet and was taking notes. Now I did it basic on the first one, right? Just put one plane in each box just to kind of demonstrate what's going on with it.
That's cool. That's cool. That's what you got to do.
You can't go full tilt because it'll just, well, you can, but it's just going to be that much
it'll break you, boy. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean, you want to take it a bit at a time if you're doing a video on something that big. You want to make it manageable for yourself.
This is one of those games that I said it in the first video that if you're playing this game, like you can call yourself a war gamer, right? Like it is that type of in-depth, like hardcore war gamer. It's not U-boat wargaming, right?
You had to go there.
I had to go talk about that Euro game.
I had to pull it. Don't get me wrong. I still like U-boat. I liked it. I thought it was a fun game. It had its quirks, but I got to give it a little dig every now and then. Yeah. And that was all for you, Kev.
Wow. So I think I heard you like the map the most, though, right?
What map?
So Stigler says, I think the chewiness of those Thin Red Line games are their Achilles heel. What do you mean by chewiness?
Probably the complexity.
Yeah, I mean the crunch, but it's like chewiness. It's like, are the counters rubbery or something?
So no, it's the small bits, right? So this little bit isn't hard, but it's this little bit, this little bit, this little bit, this little bit, and each piece is interacting with the next, right? So it's a whole lot of small bits that aren't exactly overly complex in and of themselves, but when they're all interacting together, it does make it complex.
It's chromy.
So, Gimpy, do you like beef jerky?
I don't know where you're going with this, homeboy.
Question: do you like beef jerky?
Answer it.
Well, yeah.
Okay. You put the entire huge piece of beef jerky in your mouth at once?
I don't, but the wife does.
Okay. Well, she likes really chewy games, and you like to eat them one little bite at a time, and that's the best way to consume that game is one little bite at a time. Now, the last 60 miles system, that's different. I think that's way more simulation than Under an Iron Sky.
You think so? Really?
Oh, yeah. Under an Iron Sky is way more playable than last 60 miles. I'm not a huge fan of last 60 miles.
Okay, so you're saying it's more complex, the last 60 miles, because I was thinking that one was easier. I haven't played that one.
That's interesting. Yeah, I just found it less interesting. There's a lot of DRMing to not get very much difference in a net result. There's a lot of plussing and minusing, and it didn't seem to go anywhere. So,
but you have plenty of that in Under an Iron Sky.
You do, but you have more. I think you have more in less than 60 miles, and it's a much slower game. I think Under an Iron Sky, a slower game in terms of progress in a turn, whereas Under an Iron Sky, you move a unit until it's done, right? So that you've got that, 20 movement points or 45 if you go extended movement and do the fatigue rolls and all that sort of stuff. And that kind of goes, okay, well, should I push further or not? Whereas with the other one, it's, well, I want to change commands, so I got to wait 4 turns, whatever it is, right? It's just different. 2 different systems.
I was thinking it's more simulation based than a lot of the stuff that I've played, because it really does try to touch in all the different aspects, and I think they did a good job of putting in the rules as optional, so you could choose how deep you want the game to be. So you could have special forces and airborne if you wanted to, and nukes and chemical warfare. But if you don't want to get that in depth with it, you don't have to. The supply system can be basic, or it can be more complex, and you can worry about fuel and all that stuff. So it can be more game, or it can be more simulation, depending on how many of the optional rules you want to add into it.
Right. Whereas I don't think you get that choice with Last 60 Miles. It's you're all in. And there's a lot of info markers, and
a lot.
Takes 2.5 minutes to get to the border, dude. You're like,
it's just what it says. It's about command and control. It's all about commanding and controlling your forces and making sure the timing's all matched to getting your forces, in time. It's like, it's like when you move, passing phase line alpha, passing phase line bravo, so that way you can get to the MLR and everything else. It's that it's that kind of game. It's really more of a simulation. I think that would actually be a really good one for a military to use, because you're simulating all those hacks on getting forces to different lines on time to get them into the fight. And I think that's kind of cool. If you're in the mood for that. If you're not, you just want to chuck dice and kill things, that's probably not going to be it's not going to be highest on your list, to play that sort of game.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. There's a place for these games. Like, you're not always in the mood for an Enemy Action Ardennes or 1985. Yeah. Sometimes you want to just chuck dice with Warfighter, and then sometimes you want something really meaty that you can sit down and, get chewy with, as Stigler puts it. And this is the game that's definitely going to occupy your time doing that.
No one really ever wants to just sit down and chuck dice with Warfighter, but if they did, they could.
No, hey, I like Warfighter. I like that they're getting ready to launch their fantasy series.
That's why we have so many war games to choose from, because we can choose all different sorts of things to play.
Look, I'm looking forward to fantasy, so they can have swords and bows and arrows, and I can be shooting Nazi zombies with my level 10 paladin from the fantasy series. I think that's going to be awesome. War game, maybe not necessarily. Maybe it's branched beyond that into more casual fare, but I still like the series.
It's a casual war game, that's for sure. But it's still a fun game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it at all. And John says his Christmas game is mostly books, but he's really looking forward to U-Boat. But no, Nate beat him to making a comment on U-Boat.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's going to be the running gag for 2021. Oh, what's that game? What's that gameplay like? Well, just like U-Boat. Oh, damn! No, sorry.
I think U-Boat's going to be the gag for years to come.
Yeah. Look, we can't necessarily hate on the game, because the game was good. It was innovative. It tried a lot of new stuff, which I like.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Listen to you. Listen to you a little.
But here's the thing. No one's hating on the game.
I backed it. They didn't give me the game. They didn't give me anything. Okay, I'm just saying, like, I'm not fanboying for him.
No.
Kev's down there like, shut up, Gimpy, you're stupid. Yes, you boot.
No, I didn't say you're stupid. I just said you're a diplomat.
I am very much not a diplomat when it comes to some things.
No one's hating on U-Boat at all. U-Boat is for some people, not for others. That's fine. No one hates on it at all. The problem all was about it being war game of the year when it's really, most war gamers don't consider it a war game. And that's the big thing. That and then the whole map, the rule book winning. It's like, come on, really? So
now
anyway.
I did pick up U-Boat for the PC because they had it on the Steam sale recently.
Oh, on Steam, yeah. Well, that's its own.
Yeah.
That's its own app. That's like
I know.
Honor and all those. Yeah.
It
I haven't
did look
played that
good.
yet.
I was
Is that
watching
good?
some videos on it. It looked good. I haven't played it just yet. I tried it many months back, and it was still kind of glitchy and buggy early access, but they've evidently much updated it since then, and it's running smooth now. And the videos I was watching were showing real good stuff, like, you know, actually out there patrolling, trying to find the enemy ships, and using your TDC to, you know, guide the torpedo shot in to hit your targets. You know, look like a fun game. So I was like, shit, they had it for like $15 or so on Steam. I was like, all right, I'm going for it.
So here's what everybody's asking for: Hex to Hex Case Blue reprint.
I do it.
Keep reading, man. Wow.
Oh, look at that!
That
Enemy
was
Action
by-
Ardennes. Private Public. He's got it under the tree.
You'll
That's
love it. It's excellent. It's one of Butterfield's best.
Atlantic Wolves from Canvas Temple. It's been so long, I need to remember what it was.
You know, the one that actually always bothers me is I still have yet to get the D-Day series to the table.
Really? None of them?
None of them. It's one of those things that I keep meaning to do, but, you know, I'll have this review copy come in, this prototype come in, and just, it's one thing after another, and I just can't get around to it. I mean, you guys understand how it is. More often than not, you're not playing the game you necessarily want to play.
Sometimes, yeah, a lot of times that does happen that way, but that's just what it is, you know. Then we've got John wants SPI Great War in the East, but having an unlucky time grabbing it for less than a TSWW selection. So how much is that Great War in the East going for now?
I don't know, a couple of bucks probably. I don't know that's that World War One, right? Isn't it?
No, are you talking about war? Are we talking about the war in the East, war in the West, and then like war in Europe is the combined version of that, or is that a different one that I'm thinking of? Because I want the SPI war in Europe, which is both of those.
Oh, really?
But I've never been able to find it at a good price.
Actually, I had two at one time. I sold one to a guy in Australia, and I had the soapbox. You know, the beautiful soapbox was in great condition, and he goes, "Oh, just break it down and make it flat. It'll ship cheaper." And I went, "Are you shitting me?" Family friendly. I forgot. Anyway, are you kidding me? And he's like, "No, just break it down. It'll be great." I went, "Okay." So I did. Yeah, it's the World War One battles.
Okay, that's not the one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I don't know that game, and I don't. Yeah, I see one for sale for $48.
Yes, Stigler, I've got that one coming too. I actually contacted them because I had missed it. Really? And I saw an article about it, and I was like, look, hey, I want to cover this, but I missed your Kickstarter. Is there any way I can jump in? And they're like, yeah, you know, we'll get you taken care of. So I, you know, paid them for the Kickstarter, and they added my name to the list. So I was very much happy that they were able to throw me in on that.
That's where your huge blogging street cred comes into handy. Your blog being a YouTuber.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the GimpyGamer.
No. You're gonna service me.
When I talk, no, honestly, more often than not, when I talk to companies, I don't use my channel name. I don't use the channel email because I want them to react to me as if I'm just anyone else. And I mean, come on now, it's not like I'm a huge name in the first place. I mean, some war game companies know who I am, but I want to see how they're going to treat
We're not
everyone.
sending him nothing.
Who's this Nate Rogers guy that keeps sending all these emails?
Yeah, it's different if it's a company I've been working with for a while. Like if it's DVG or Block and Load, yeah, I just talk to them like, hey, you know, can you send me this, whatever it is. But if it's someone else, if I don't know them and I haven't worked with them previously, I use a different email because I just want to see how they react, right? I think that's a better way to do it, a more honest way to do it.
Now, Kev, you can relate to private public here. One key thing I've learned in my limited time in wargaming is the amount of planning needed to get games. Purchases need to be made months before you can play due to slow shipping to Australia.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Ain't that the
Doesn't
truth?
Australia do a VAT, too?
Ain't that the
And doesn't
truth?
Australia do a VAT, too?
Oh, sure. We do that on everything.
I think everybody does, except for the U.S.
Yeah.
Or most everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, we could only get games in the store unless you did SBI, and then even then you had to be like on the mailing list, and then you're looking at, and all you had was a piece of paper to look at. You couldn't. There's no websiting back then. No, none of that stuff. So how do you even know what was good? And so you would wait till it came into the store, and the store would have 2 copies. So you have to be in. You have to find out when they were going to make a delivery. Run in and look at the back of the box and look and see what it looked like, and hope it was going to be okay.
And you'd be competing against everyone else to see if you could beat them to it.
Yeah, all 4 of us in town that played war games.
Oh, there you go. Got an offer, hex to hex.
War in the War in the West, and then War in the East. My offer would have to wait until definitely after Christmas. My budget goes away during the Christmas season because that all gets spent on kids. Let's just say Santa is very generous with the children. They each have a huge pile.
Nice.
And I got the wife some nice stuff. On top of that, gotta keep her happy now that she's pleasantly plump.
Always keep her happy.
And
baby's coming here soon.
There's David.
Dave Heath is chiming in. Hey, Dave. Hope you're feeling better, buddy.
And Dean is here, Rough Swordsman. Hey.
Yeah, he said he was toddling off to bed, and then we came on, and Blue Tweezer said the same thing. It's like, we're keeping these guys up, so we got to make it good.
Rough Swordsman, they did that recent Kickstarter for the Buffalo Wings. I don't know if they're still allowing people to get on it or not, but email them. You should be able to get the new one.
Yeah.
Just a FYI. I don't know. I'm not guaranteeing it because I contacted them, I think it was like 2 months ago, and got on it, but you might still be able to get a copy that way.
Yeah,
I have no idea when it's shipping.
I'm sure they have extra copies anyway, right? I mean,
yeah, I think they'll go retail with some of them.
Blue Tweezer should be seeing that pretty soon because I just received mine like about a week and a half, excuse me, a week and a half ago for the Trung update pack for Fire in the Lake.
Actually, let me see. What was that other game?
Hey,
Age of Dogfights. Did anyone else get this besides me?
What's that?
Age of Dogfights.
Yeah, I must have missed that one, buddy.
Did not get that.
No,
y'all did not see that.
No, I didn't.
That was a Kickstarter, and it's the planes are counters. There's different plastic pegs that you can adjust their heights, but it's a dogfighting game set in World War I. So it's got blimps and biplanes and all that other cool stuff. The gameplay looked really good, so I got the basic version of that one.
What's the difference between that and the other one with the models that was super popular at the time?
Wings of Glory.
Yeah, they became X-Wing, right? It's all the same system. What's that? What's wrong? What was wrong with Wings of Glory?
Nothing's wrong with Wings of Glory. I've got that. They've got World War II and World War I versions. This is just a counter version of the game, and I think it plays different because it's more of a grid base instead of loose card movement like Wings of Glory is.
Right.
I haven't played the game. I just saw the video for it, and it looked like a good game, so I took a chance with it.
That's pretty cool.
So, hoping it's good. I do like Wings of Glory, but I like X-Wing better. Although, unfortunately, I haven't been able to play X-Wing in about a year now.
Really, that long?
Yeah, my local store can't have anyone there, and people won't come like to the houses. My buddy that I play with normally, he's a cop, so he doesn't want to risk it. And my other buddy that I play with locally has kids, and I think his wife is very scared of COVID, so they've been very packed in.
Careful.
So that's what I kind of worry about with the tabletop gaming, though, because where's it going to go from here? It's been really crushed this year, and a lot of people are playing digitally. But how's that going to affect the company? I wonder, because Fantasy Flight no longer controls X-Wing. It was sold off to a different division.
Yeah,
because Asmodee bought them up.
Stuff wasn't all the Star Wars stuff. Yeah,
I think it was. But was that due in part to COVID and the fact that people aren't buying up as much X-Wing anymore because they can't play it?
I don't think so. An IP like that is quite an investment. You're going to definitely want your ROI on that. And they're committed to Star Wars. It's just too much of a moneymaker for them. So I think what they're doing is just restructuring it. Plus, it's Asmodee. They just bought up everybody. And now they're trying to restructure to where it's, as beneficial to them as possible.
Right.
Well, they just revamped it for, season 2 or version 2. And they did that about a year ago. It was so many months before COVID and all that kicked off. So that was a significant investment right before, all this started.
Yeah.
But now I know people are buying less because, like we had talked about previously, the local game stores are hurting. That's why I always got my X-Wing stuff. And I know I haven't been buying as much as I normally would have. And if I'm not, everyone else isn't. So I know it's gone down. I just don't know where they're going to go because tournaments are all held online now for X-Wing.
Really?
We're doing in-store stuff here in Austin. People are.
Are you guys?
They're spread out, but they're people are playing
masked up and everything.
Yeah, they're doing masks in most of the places. And if you're eating and drinking, you can take your mask off. I go to my buddy's house and we play every other Friday. We don't wear masks when we play. He has serious health issues.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, I would personally right now not want to go to a game store for the fact that I'd have to sit there for hours wearing a mask. And
yeah, exactly.
No, just not going to do it. I'll wear it when I go into the store because it's required. But the minute I'm outside, I take it off, So I don't want to sit in there for hours wearing a mask.
Well, so I think that's one of the things we can do though. If we can't go and play, like Gimpy was saying earlier on, we should at least try and buy games from the stores to try and support the local brick and mortar places. I think that's something we all should be trying to do, right?
All right. Yeah. So Tom asks, he says, inquiring minds want to know top 3 war games for 2020. Shoot, I will give my first Brotherhood and Unity from Compass. Nate?
U-Boat.
Kev? That's all we have for tonight, folks.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Hold up. I'll give you a serious one.
No, really.
Top.
He doesn't realize he's muted. You say you go, you get a 5-second timeout for that.
I just saw the little mute icon yet. Butthead. Wait, did World at War 85 release this year or last year?
Last.
Was it tail end of last year?
2019.
Was it 19 or 18? I thought it was 18.
It was definitely, might have been early this year.
Might be, yeah. I can't remember now.
Dave,
if you're still here, Dave Heath was in here, so he could definitely give us an answer.
If it wasn't that one, I would put one of the ones that I thought was one of the best for the industry would have been Undaunted Normandy. I thought that did really, really good for bringing in new players and just the smooth gameplay.
World of War 85 was 2019.
All right, so I'd put that as top. I'll put an Undaunted Normandy kind of honorary mention right there.
Kev?
Look, of all games I played, I enjoyed 2 a lot, and that was Waterloo Campaign 1815 from GMT, the magazine game. I thought that was just amazing, I think, and innovative as well, but still playing true to a war game, right? And then Wars of Marcus Aurelius from Hollenspiel.
Yeah.
Fantastic solo game, lots and lots of choices, great components, beautiful map, fantastic gameplay, tense. They would be my top 2. I'm just looking at all the games I played this year. I did 72 plays so far. I think they were the 2 that I played quite a bit of, and then World of War.
Not showing that one
5 or 6 times. So if I was going to pick a game that wasn't released this year, it would probably be World at War 85, just because I played it the most this year.
Nice. Did you get Stilicho also, the kind of like the follow-up to?
I did not. That was during a fiscal crunch, So
Oh,
I don't. I need to circle back to that when it's on sale or something.
Nice. Well, they just ended their holiday sale.
I know.
The Hollandaise sale.
Fiscal crunch was not over.
Yeah, no. Well, you were going into another fiscal crunch, Christmas. That's the drawback to that.
Yeah, that there is that action.
So Stigler wants to know if we're previewing next year's Charlie's then.
No.
We'll do that at another time.
Well, what did you like, Mo? What was your favorite?
I said Brotherhood and Unity.
Oh,
I would actually say Brotherhood and Unity, and the other one that I really did enjoy, and I know you had a kind of a, I don't know if I would say it's my top of the year, but the one that you had kind of a tough time at first liking was Brief Border Wars. Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
That was a good one, actually. Yeah. I'll agree with that.
It was a solid one because you had 4 games in one box, great value, and then they were all distinct games. They were not like it was, this is just a different theme slapped on each one. Nope. They all had their own unique characteristics and everything.
I would agree with that entirely. Yeah. You know, my favorite, although I don't know if it was 2019, 2020 game, but Westphalia, the 5-player from Hollandspiel, that was also that was an amazing gaming experience. So lots of good stuff.
Nice.
All right, and I'm going to add in. I was going to add in one more honorable mention there. And this one's a little less popular because not as many people play this. Is the Ager Sanguinis by Historic One Games, and that's the one where it's man-to-man counters set back in the medieval times, the Crusades. You know, swords, shields, javelins, bows and arrows, all that type stuff. I just finished a 10-part playthrough of that one. Really, really enjoyed that. Good gameplay. They vastly improved the components to it. There are a couple of minor tweaks that I'd like to see them make in future editions, but I'm looking forward to doing a big castle siege later on with the game, because they've got nice campaign rules for the game, and then a big castle map, so you can actually siege it with ladders and towers and the whole nine, and have them defensively on the battlements trying to stop you getting in. Just real good gameplay, and it plays very well solitaire as well.
Do they abstract anything once you get into the castle siege? I mean, because you're going to obviously be assaulting with a lot of troops, and if it's man-to-man, that's a lot of individual decisions to make.
Yeah, I would say no. It's all man-to-man is streamlined. It's not beer and pretzels. I mean, it's a fairly deep game, but it's streamlined enough that it's not hard to play. You can sit down, read the rule book in an afternoon, and be playing the game, set it up that evening, and play it. No problem. It's not overly difficult by any means. And there's a buttload of counters with a game. So there's plenty to surround the castle and have. I mean, you're not going to have thousands like it would be in real life, but you could have plenty on each side going after it.
Nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That does sound cool. What about you guys in the audience? Continue on with whatever it is that you are gifting yourself, or you're hoping that you'll find under the tree from Santa. What are the ones that you are looking forward to most that come out in the first quarter next year that you guys have heard about so far? Any games that you're looking forward to the most?
Am I the only one that's never gotten a war game from their spouse?
No, I've never gotten a war game from my wife either. Everything I buy, it's from myself.
Yeah, really.
I'm my own Santa.
Christmas, thank you so much. Just what I wanted. How did you know?
I've tried to hint it to her, like I go to the Amazon thing, and I'll put stuff in the cart and then save for later, and I've got a whole list in there. I'm like, well, just go look at that list. There's plenty of options to pick from. She's like, oh, I found you something that wasn't on Amazon. I'm like, okay. Love you, babe.
Love you, babe. Thanks for the underwear.
The way it always works. I mean, you're like, okay, well, what do I want? I got you something. You're going to love it. It's the nicest pair of underwear, like you were saying, or I got you great socks. Geez, thanks. Really appreciate that. I wanted this game over here. That's why I buy it myself.
Well, to be fair, if she didn't buy me clothes, I would wear the ones I have until they were tattered and falling apart, and just put that towards game, game money. So I can't really blame her for that. Beneath the med.
Yeah. People seem to like that one, even though it's solitaire. It's a great system.
So what are you talking about? Solitaire's taken off. especially this year.
Especially this year.
World War 85.
World War 85. Yeah.
That's coming.
Quattro Bra 1815. Last
Steel.
Eagles. Nice.
That's a good game.
Into the
Into
Woods.
the
from
Woods.
DMT.
I heard plenty of that one. Yeah.
What is that?
Is that the one where they attack Grandma's house?
Yeah, is that
Oh, it's Through the Woods.
Is it that game?
I'm not familiar with that. Into the Woods. Which one is that?
Is that a bulge game or something?
That's what it sounds like.
Another bulge game.
I'll tell you,
Into
the one that I
Woods.
regret not getting was the newest in the coin series. I haven't gotten that one yet.
Oh, the Battle of Shiloh. That's why I don't know it.
Oh,
It is Great Battles of the American Civil War.
oh.
Civil War stuff is just never on my radar.
Yeah, I'm trying that system right now and I'm struggling.
Really?
Yeah, just the enthusiasm.
Is it
But
difficult or you're just not into it?
it's a little
Both?
bit of both, a little involved, and lots of mistakes are made, and then you think, okay, let's just keep going. I'm playing opposed too, so we're both making mistakes. Is what it is.
Mm.
Well, they kind of even out afterwards.
Yeah.
Hey, Steelstone. Welcome to the show.
Clay. Currently soloing. What are you soloing, Clay? What is it? Vakdam Ryan? No, Hell's Highway, right?
Nice.
Raccoon
Raccoon
Tycoon.
Tycoon.
I'm so sorry, John.
I don't believe that is a war game.
Carrier Battle Philippines Sea.
Oh, so looking forward to that. Yes.
There you go. Dave says that my wife always buys me war games. I need to send her links, but small price to pay.
Maybe I should just start going that route.
She's got an inside track to on the website. She can get a good discount.
Get a good discount, yeah. And then Fango says I link games to my Amazon list. That's actually a good thing to do. Jeff says wife would burn my games if she had her druthers. That's not good.
Wow, that's rough.
What is it? What's a druther? You guys are gonna have to help me out with that. Is that like an old guy term, Kevin?
Old guy term. Jeez.
Wow, and he asked me. What a dick. Yeah.
Now Gimpy gets a 10-second penalty. All right, now he's unmuted. I'm just
All right.
getting into the penalty mode because we're getting ready to start hockey this week, so I'm excited.
You got to stop muting me here. I can't pick on Kevin if I can't talk to him.
Well, you're making fun of old guys, so us old guys got to stick together.
What? You're not exactly old, Mo. You're just past middle aged.
I'm not that much younger than Kev.
Look, I'm giving you crap because this is my last year. I can actually say I'm in my 30s, and at that point, I will officially be old.
Oh,
40
yeah.
is not old, just for the record.
40 is when the body starts to let you know that, you're getting old.
40 is when
it-
you can't claim I'm young and dumb and just didn't know what I was doing. Like in your 30s, you can still get away with trying to act like you were too young to understand what you were doing when it was really stupid. When you're 40 and above, you should friggin' know better.
But Gim, I think you got to carry on with that kind of mode of thinking for, at least another 5 years or so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nah. I got to
Then
be
you
mature
can
now.
get into midlife crisis mode. Then you get into midlife crisis mode. You go buy the Corvette and, you do all stupid things thinking that you're 20 again.
I already tried that. I told the missus, I got to trade her in for a younger model and get a truck, and she got mad.
There you go. Jeff says Southern talk for I'd rather. Druther.
Oh.
So there you go. There's your answer.
I'm Southern.
So-
I should have known that.
You
So
should
Dean had a comment. John Southard's Carrier, the sci-fi game, and then Devin. Let's not forget Devin's Stalingrad module.
What sci-fi coin game? Have I missed that one?
Yeah, the Mars one.
I have completely whiffed. I haven't even heard of that one.
You haven't heard about that?
No.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
on Mars.
there's so many. You can't keep track of everything.
Well, that one's the
Occasionally
first
one
sci-fi
slips by.
one. That's the first sci-fi one. So that one definitely caught a lot of attention because people immediately, like me, I was like, oh, that sounds a lot like The Expanse. I like that. Although it's
I'll have
not,
to check that out.
Yeah.
you know, just that it's set on Mars.
Yeah. Be interesting.
And Devin's Lock and Load Tactical. Is he
Stalingrad.
talking about Lock and Load Tactical 5.1 or like the Space Infantry Lock and Load Tactical?
Stalingrad.
No, the Stalingrad 5.1, not the sci-fi.
Well, I will have the 5.1 tutorials done here very soon. Those are almost complete at this point.
Yeah, I
And
just
just in
remember.
case,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go
I was
ahead.
going to say, and for anyone who is interested, when Point Blank comes out here soon, that's also coming from Lock and Load Tactical. I will have a tutorial series up for that as well here soon.
Look
That
at
is
you.
in the works.
Nice.
You're a producer. You're a producer. I played with the new Arty rules and got zero difference between regular artillery deployment and a concentrated artillery deployment. So
Really?
I decided to keep the rules the same. And just use
So
the
you don't use the no, there's more than just concentrated though.
I know.
There's
I know. You can
concentrated,
do
loose,
creeping barrage, whatever. Yeah, not interested.
walking. You don't
Walking.
like walking? I like walking. I think that's an interesting game technique.
Yeah,
Creeping
you gotta
barrage.
Walk it up on your enemy.
If you can do a creeping barrage and capture enough units in that, sure, I could see that. But yeah, I'm not so excited. Plus, don't you have to use up one barrage for each turn you use it?
No.
It's just one barrage, and you can just run it for 3 turns.
Yeah. So like you call in your arty, right?
Yeah.
And the first turn it hits the 3 hexes. Second turn hits the next 3. Next turn hits the next 3. It's only one call in though to get those 3 effects. So if you think about it, you could call it in if they're tucked into some woods or a building somewhere, and you want to force them out. It's walking up on them.
Mhm.
They've got no choice. They can vacate or they can take the pounding. I like it. I think it's interesting. It opens it up a little more realism to the game.
Now,
The hull down fire, it's gonna be have to played with to see how I like fire, because fire can be hit or miss.
Yeah, I don't use the fireballs.
now I don't think that it's in tactical. I think it's in World War 85 though. But like DPICM for artillery, it's not in Lock and Load Tactical, is it?
No.
I didn't think so. I think it's only in World War 85.
Yeah.
Because that would be cool. Because then you have lasting effects. You're dropping a minefield basically.
Yeah.
little
For modern, that would be awesome. I could see that for modern. That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
Just all over that. I just don't see the. I don't see the. Well, first of all, I don't know if I see the benefit of a creeping barrage in any. Like, I'm just doing that last four scenarios at Easy Company. So I'm doing the campaign for the Bulge with Easy Company, and the barrages are important in that. And I think a creeping barrage would be. Would change the game significantly. So,
Creeping barrage of smoke. That would be good.
You don't get that choice though. Usually,
That would be good if you could, because that would be a great way to move.
Yeah, as it's walking up, you're right there behind it.
Because that's how it's done.
Call smoke instead of HE. That'd be a cool option.
Hell yeah, that would be really cool.
I am curious though how well loose is going to work, because you need a fairly significant artillery barrage to come in, like power wise, strength wise. Otherwise you're really not hitting with any strength, because it reduces it by so much. I think if the original strength is like 1 to 2, it drops down to 0. 3 to 5, it goes to 1, and then 6 or above it goes to 2 is what it is. So I mean, most of the barrages are somewhere around like 3 or 4.
Yeah, they're all 4.
Maybe.
Most of 4.
Yeah, so you're going to get maybe 1, which isn't that strong. I mean, it's spread over a large area, so maybe if you're catching a fair amount of infantry out in the open without cover, that could work. But other than that, I don't know if that's going to cause a whole lot of damage.
Yep.
Deluxe Russian campaign.
Damn.
It's finally.
Now I want to play Lock and Load Tactical.
Good luck with getting that game. Is that going to print? Is GMT going to print that?
It's actually at the printer. It's actually at the printers, I believe.
It really is.
I believe that's at the printer. And the funny thing is so is Compass's straight reprint of Russian Campaign.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
So they're both doing the same game?
No.
Yeah. The guy is doing the same game. Kranz is doing both of them.
Yeah. Well, that too. But the deluxe Russian Campaign is going to be the whole smash. You're getting everything. Anything and everything that was ever thought of for that game is going in that box. Compass is doing this straight classic reprint. So it's different in that regard.
Yeah.
Fire for effect.
Now, I'll tell you, the one that I'm looking forward to next year is the Middle Sea. That next in the series from Thunder in the East. From Frank Chadwick and Alan Emmerich.
Sure.
You know, they're currently working on that, and I absolutely loved Thunder in the East. I thought that was a really good game system, just all the way around. So I'm looking forward to see how they can incorporate the Mediterranean, all those type of units into it.
I'll be curious about that. I'm more curious about that than Thunder in the East. And now that they're changing the rules pretty significantly, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Okay, well, what's that going to do for the original owners of that first game?
Right. Well, it's a huge set of rule changes from what I've read. So who knows, right? Who knows?
Well, what they could do is if you backed the first one and you get the second one, whether it's P500, it was Kickstarter the first time, but if it's P500 the second, they could at least send you an updated rule book for Thunder in the East if you had gotten it before.
Yeah, the rules. The map's different, too. It's going to be a different map, and some of the counters are going to change, and all sorts of stuff.
Is the map that much different?
Well, certainly it's going to be a different. Is it going to be mounted?
Is it going to be mounted?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
I would hope not.
And it's okay.
For Thunder in the East?
Yeah. The Thunder in the East is already mounted, right? But I'm saying the reprint, is it going to be mounted? And is the Med going to be mounted? And how are you going to match printer style and colors and all that sort of stuff? Right?
So are they going to reprint that Thunder in the East or not?
I think so.
Because I've heard I've heard they are, and then I've heard they're not.
Ooh,
so
really?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, like it's like if it gets reprinted, what I've heard is if it gets reprinted, it won't be for a while. And then I've also heard that they are going to reprint it. So that's something we'd have to try to find out about.
Yeah, I'm really curious about Middle Sea, though. I'd love to just buy that as a standalone and play it, because I think there's a lot of great strategic level choices. You know, Churchill's soft underbelly theory and Operation Torch and how that all came about. And there'd be some good stuff there, potentially.
Yeah. If it's done right. I mean, but they did the first one right. So right now they got a good track record with me.
John's saying his original in shrink is now worthless. I bet it's not. I bet you it's worth something.
The original
in shrink.
Got to keep it. Got to keep that bad boy. And buy a $5 cheap copy and play it.
They still have 1 million copies in storage of Thunder.
I don't know about that.
Nah, I wouldn't think so.
Fire
it sold
sale.
pretty well.
Selling them for $10.
Good luck on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I mean, is it worth keeping it then, or is it worth selling it and just waiting for the reprint?
I don't know. Folks I've spoken to who played it quite a bit, enjoyed it, but recognized the flaws in the game, and a lot of those things are being addressed in the new system and the revisions that have happened.
Yeah,
and they're quietly selling theirs off and looking for the new versions. So we'll see.
Yeah, but you could almost say that about any game, because no game is perfect.
And that's not about being perfect. It's just about being more better, but without getting into detail, right?
That's the problem when you get into a series of games like that, and you are setting yourself up for, okay, well, if we get this rule set here, and then in a couple of years we get the next game, we've got to revamp the rules because we found problems.
Right.
Well, what does that do for the original owners? If it's something as simple as, well, don't worry, download our living rule book, or for $10 we'll send you a new rule book or whatever.
Right.
Great. But what Kev's saying is like, no, it essentially trashes the game and gives you a whole new game. You're going to have to buy a new game.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's going to trash the game, but just the feedback I've seen and some of the changes from the rules I read and watched the game being played, and then reading the changes they're making, they're really substantial mechanical game changes. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it'd be awesome, and it'll all just sync together perfectly, and you can put all 15 modules together and pretend you've got, Europa for Dummies, right? I mean, it'll be awesome.
Kumbaya U-boat.
Part of the issue is probably coming in with the sea aspect of it, because the air war was abstracted in a certain fashion, and it gave extra dice when you were doing like ground attacks, things like that. And I'm willing to bet they use a similar system in the sea campaign and the Middle Sea, because I noticed the symbols on the counters were kind of similar to the aircraft, but they had some shipping in Thunder in the East, but it was very little. Like there was very little water on it, so they didn't have to cover a whole lot of that. So I'm willing to bet that's probably the substantial changes they're running into, is they're having to change the aspects, because they originally designed shipping to do X, Y, and Z, but they didn't have to worry about it, right? They could abstract the hell out of it.
Sure.
But now they've got the
naval combat. You got to have naval supply convoys and air interdiction and all that shooting match stuff, right? So
exactly. So it's not going to work the same in between the two. So yeah, you're right. They're going to have to change that probably fairly substantially. That's interesting. I'm going to have to do some digging in there.
Yeah,
see what I can find out.
So if anybody sees a couple copies of Thunder in the East up on sale on ComSim Marketplace, you'll know why.
Well, it's not like the original game isn't good, though. Even if you just get Thunder in the East and just play that, that's a good game in and of itself. So it's not like you're missing out on anything. But if you want to get the rules later, get a new version.
That's the thing. If you can get an update kit, that's what Kent was saying. He's like, I'd like to get a Thunder in the East update kit. If that's possible, that's great. If not, then you're playing an old game that other people are going to be moving on to the new one. And that's one of the things. It's like, how do you feel as a gamer? That brings up a good topic. How do you feel as the gamer when you buy something and a few years later, oh yeah, well, we found some broken stuff and we're fixing it in a whole new edition. And we've seen that happen plenty of times. But a new edition, not as in, this is a second edition where the rule book is corrected, the errata's in there, so you can download the rule book, print it yourself or whatever. Not a big deal. Maybe a couple of errata counters. No, you're talking about something that is essentially a new game. And if there's no update kit with it, what do you do?
I kind of feel like I don't know what's going to happen with Thunder in the East. Who knows? But whatever happens, folks, there are going to be fans of it and people who don't like it. So it is what it is. But I'm not sure that I would want to invest the time in playing the original version and then knowing that 12 or 18 months from now, a whole new version or new version is going to come out. And if the play experience is completely different, I'm playing two different games. So I don't know if I want to invest the time now to go experience that than when I cycle back around to say putting those two modules together, it's a completely different experience. So I don't know if I get into that or not. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Well, if you think about it, though, I mean, it's not like we haven't seen plenty of games get revamped. Looking when Lock and Load Publishing got bought and they changed. So Lock and Load Tactical changed substantially from what their games were previously. A lot of individually packaged games got put together and sold as a package. Like, I forget some of the original names, but X, Y, and Z became Heroes of Normandy. And
same core rules, same gameplay, just better components and more consistent, and you only had to buy one module. So that's a good
But the rules have updated fairly substantially. And wait, no, that was World at War. Didn't the counters change, though? I mean, I know they changed size, but didn't the numbers
like substantial? Yeah, and they changed the completely two different systems, right? That's because that thing drove itself into the ground, right?
That's a good example right there. World at War is a good example of Thunder in the East old and Thunder in the East new. If what we're saying is all true, that would be a good comparison, because you could still play the old World at War. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, as far as you playing, you can go for it. Yeah. But if you play the new one, it's a whole new ball game. So that you can. There's no update kit. The update kit is getting the new version. And it's as simple as that. And it sounds like the same may be the case for Thunder in the East, but we'll have to wait and see if we can verify that. And before we jumped the
people
gun.
need to remember that there's nations at war too, because that's the World at War system set in World War II, right? No missiles to worry about or helicopters, kind of a smaller system. I really like Nations of War. I think it's a good game system. So if you want something like World at War 85 set in World War II, it's already out there.
Yeah.
I don't think that series gets as much attention as it probably should.
That's true.
And that's why his copy is unplayed. I don't get that. Maybe it's a personal thing. I don't get not playing a good game now because it might be a better game 18 months, 2 years down the road.
Because you want to sell it while it still has value.
I mean, if you're going to sell it, that makes sense.
And that's why it'll sit there and you're probably making the decision, do I want to sell it or not? So, plus there's other games to get to. One thing that war gamers don't have, or gamers always say that they want this game, want that game, and then they don't get to their games. And that's just for like hobby games where you can play a hobby game in some games 15 minutes, some games an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. War games, you're talking 2 hours minimum on up to 30, 40, 60, 90 hours, depending on the type of game. So there's a much bigger time commitment to learning and playing a game. And speaking of that, does anybody watch It Played? Rodney from Watch It Played.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do one for like Under an Irons guy.
He's going to be doing Cuba Libre. He's going to be doing
Is he really?
Libre, a learning game of Cuba Libre next week. He just announced it today, which is pretty cool because his show, his whole thing is providing a service of you don't have to break out your rule book. Just watch the video. You'll know how to play.
He does a great job with it.
Does an amazing job with it. This is his full-time job. He does a great job with it. And now he's starting to step into war games. He showed he has a stack of GMT games. So he's got some coin games. He's got Combat Commander. He's got Wilderness War, those types of games. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to start doing that. And he said himself, he's a little nervous right now. He's a little nervous because it's a different ball game.
Yeah, he'll probably change the format a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, as someone who's done tutorials for war games, you can't cover it in a short few minute video. All right. Most of his are like 15 minutes or under. Yeah. For the generalized games. With war games, it's going to take some time. Some serious 30-minute plus videos to cover at least the basics of the game. Now, I mean, there's plenty of war games that I think he could cover, but I don't think he's going to be able to cover a wide swath of them because even some of the easier ones are going to be too complex to cover in the series that he does, unless he changes his format, maybe. Although, if he changes his format, he might put me out of business.
Well, he does a great job with that stuff. So
he does.
No, he does.
I've seen a few of them. I don't watch a lot of YouTube stuff.
Well, I mean, for doing something like you do, when you're going through the entire rule book is totally different than what he would do. He would probably do something like, I'm just guessing here, but for like, say we're going to go lock and load tactical, like what you did. He's going to pull up a scenario, a fairly small scenario, maybe introductory scenario. And he's going to go through the base mechanics of the game. And that's really all you need to teach. And then the exploration of the rest of the rules is up to the gamer. But if they at least understand how the movement, the combat, all that stuff works, they have they're 9/10, well, not 9/10, but they're probably about 60, 70% of the way there. The rest of it is just icing on top.
Yeah. How do you move? How do you shoot? How do you stay in supply if there's supply? Exactly. Right? How do you stay in command if there's command? And that's all you need to know to get started. And then you can build on the rest with other reading and other gameplays.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
We got Kabuki Kid here.
Oh, hey, Kabuki. We don't have Rob on.
No, we don't.
John's great. I love John's comments.
Another reason why Kickstarter is selling you the 1957 Edsel before it was redone in its updated version.
Look, Kickstarter is driving me crazy because I am terrified not to get the Kickstarter because it's the whole FOMO thing. And the two words I hate the most are Kickstarter exclusive.
Oh,
because it drives me crazy. I feel like I'm going to miss out if I don't get the Kickstarter, and I don't always
You're
have
exactly
the
what
money
they're
to get all the
playing for.
Kickstarter. I know I'm the sucker that they're trying to get. It drives me nuts.
Hey, David.
Hello, Mr. David. We were just talking about you earlier.
Yeah, we were talking about what is a war game. No, we weren't. We just had to bring that up as a joke. But we were talking about Undaunted.
He's riding a torpedo to
we were talking about Undaunted Normandy as one of the games that Nate, I believe, brought it up about games that we thought were the best games of the year over this past year. And your game came up. Africa, right? North Africa is the latest. And then he's got the replacements coming out, which is going to offer the solitaire version, correct?
I have to give him a sec to type in there.
And he's also got Castle Ida out, right? Oh, not Castle Ida. What's the
Soldiers and Postmen's Uniforms.
Yeah.
FYI, people, that is still on Kickstarter, I think, for the next handful of days. I think it's 5 days it's still got left on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's already well into, funded at this point. I think it's close to like 300% funded. So it's definitely there. But if you are into that Valiant Defense series, definitely one to check out.
And if you're not, go get it because you're going to love it. I mean, I think it's
a great,
what's that?
Grant has a comment. It's tuned specifically to Gimpy. Greg Grant. He said, speaking of which, would be great to see somebody do a video series of Under Iron Sky. There you go. Tune into Gimpy's channel. He's got it going on there.
Yep. I am covering it currently. Slowly. Very, very slowly.
Too slow.
Stuka Joe. Man, he was the guy that I was watching when I first got into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He does an amazing job.
He does. He really does amazing work. And we're so fortunate in the war game community to have the people that do the work, because there's a lot of people in, the hobby side of gaming, your Euros, your social deduction, whatever, that are teaching those games now. And this is not meant as a snide remark or a knock on their games. It is much easier to sit down and teach Agricola or Carcassonne or something like that in a video than it is to teach Under an Iron Sky, Locomotive Tactical, any of these things like Gimpy's been doing. It's a totally different thing. It's basically like, here's how to ride a tricycle versus here's how to fly the Apollo spacecraft. It is a massive leap. It's just like 18xx gamers versus Ticket to Ride. It's they're both train games. I always use that as the example, but they're completely different levels. And it's great to see that we have people that are willing to put their time in, because there's a lot of time involved in content creation at various levels, and everyone does their own thing. Like Nate does, and Stuka Joe and Kev, you do all your little fireside chats, tableside chats, as I call them.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I probably need to roll. I've got a basketball game to go to, so I have to
That's going to a basketball game this evening?
My son's playing, so
he's going to be a ringer. They're going to put him in.
Yeah, you're going to put me in. Yeah. Hey, when'd you dye your hair? No. First district game, so we got to go kick.
Nice.
So,
well, good luck to them.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good to talk to everybody. See you soon. You guys don't use any naughty words.
We'll try not to. All right, Kev. See you later.
He should teach us how to say a naughty word in Australian.
Well, it's pretty much what we say now, just with a really cool accent. But
no, I'm sure they've got some dirty slang down there we're not aware of.
That's true. They probably do have some terminology, but and we got some other comments here. Like Fango saying, you can go over a section like combat in a 5-minute video, which is true. And 5 minutes, this is something you and I have talked about, and other people have talked to us about as well. And you guys in the chat sound off here. One of the things I'm having some difficulty with, you've been doing a really good job with it, is condensing reviews down to 5 minutes, because people are saying, we don't want that 20, 30, 40-minute review. We want the 5 minutes.
That's why I started doing the 5-minute reviews.
Yeah. Everyone's been saying, we want 5 minutes. It's like, and then I look at the analytics on the videos, and people do want that. Everybody wants quick hit videos. And I'm like, it's kind of hard to do only a 5-minute video if you're to me, it's hard for me. So
it is harder.
Yeah, it's much harder because you want to talk about the background of the game, what the game does. By the time you've introduced the game and talked about anything about the game or the designer, you're 60 to 90 seconds in already.
I figured out a format on how to go with it, right? And I thought about what the stuff is that I usually cover, right? Usually I have my intro that I say and the basics about the game and that type stuff, and then get into the components and then get into the gameplay itself and how it works, some gameplay examples, and then final thoughts. And that's kind of the format that I am working with. But like I said, I write down a script for these because normally I don't script out the videos when I'm just playing the game. But for these, I script it and I know how long it's going to take me to read those words on the page. So I know I've got front and back of a page to fit my words in. That's it. Anything that I want to say has to fit there, because if it doesn't, it's going to be over 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And plus I give myself a leeway. I'm like, it's a 5-minute review if it's under 5 minutes, or if it's, or more likely under 6 minutes. So 5 minutes and 59 seconds. I can, say it's 5-minute review. So now, I get a little bit of a buffer.
This is something Kabuki brings up that I have exactly had this problem with before. It was a while back, and Rodney talked about some war game stuff, and then he added in American Sign Language to his videos and some of the videos. And it says ASL, and the first time I saw Watch It Play ASL, I was like, wait a second, Rodney went from like intro war game to ASL. He went from like first grade to kindergarten, first grade to college. I was like, oh, wow, cool. He's going to do ASL. And I was like, oh, it's American Sign Language. My bad.
But isn't that not needed anyway? Because YouTube already does closed caption. They
do closed caption, but he wanted to do the ASL as another feature to his videos, which I think is a great thing. And it's that is, people talk about learning other languages and stuff, and Spanish or French or German, whatever. There's no push in school, at least when I was in school. I don't even think it was available to take ASL. And I think that's a more usable tool for a lot of people than.
Well, we've actually been teaching our little girl that.
Really?
Yeah,
fantastic.
our baby girl, because we found that with babies, before they can talk, they can't really tell you what they want, but they can make signs with their hands. So we've taught her words like more and thank you and hungry, so she can make the signs to us when she wants something. And of course she's not doing exactly correct, but we understand what it is. We teach her the basics. Do you want more? And she'll just kind of pound her hands together like, okay, she wants more, or she's hungry, or she'll say thank you, or whatever it is. Now my wife's doing more of that, but we found it works very well for us, for young kids, to give them or her a ability to talk to us.
Yeah.
Or tell us what she wants.
True. And that's the only sign language I know is Marine Corps Sign Language. It's the universal.
Fango was talking about what I do.
What you were doing. Yeah. And it's just Marine Corps Sign Language, which is the same symbol or the same hand gesture everybody uses, whether it's a hello, goodbye, you suck, I love you, whatever. It's always the same.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Tony's Board Life. He says, Gimpy, your World of War 85 bootcamp has motivated me to do it for SBQR. Fantastic.
You might regret that. you might regret that one. Because I'll tell you, after I did the first one, I was saying to myself, I will never do this again. Because it's in depth. It kind of wears on you after a while. So I will tell you, take your time.
Yeah.
Right. Don't try to race through it. If you try to, blast it out as quick as possible, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to burn out. So try to get maybe 2-3 videos done a week at most.
True. Night Rough, thanks for staying up a little bit late and over across the pond and hanging out with us two clowns for a little while. You can watch the rest of it tomorrow.
Yeah. Ruff is one of the ones that I have caught. He's one of the newer guys. He does well, so you guys make sure and check him out. Yeah. There's another one, and I meant to mention this, and I think I forgot the damn name. I was going to mention him, the guy I've been seeing here recently pop up. Hex? Remember, right? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Hex to Hex.
I think that's the one that I'm thinking of. Newer. He's only got a few hundred subscribers so far.
I don't know. Hex to Hex, speak up. How many subs do you have? He's in the audience tonight. He's joined us. Yeah.
I think that's it. I remember. I want to say it was Hex, but I can't remember it. Sorry, my memory's just bad. Head injuries and brain injuries.
I was going to say you have kind of an excuse. I'll give you a pass on this one.
Landmines do good for that. I'll tell you what, they do not mix for learning very, very in-depth games. Though I am so terrified that I'm going to do bad at Under an Iron Sky.
No, you're doing fine. And you know what? That's the other thing too. We'll come back to that in a second. But he has 345 subscribers. So if you are not already subbed to Hex to Hex, please go over and check him out and subscribe. And
I was watching some of his stuff recently.
Yeah, that's what we're all about here, is making sure that everybody knows everybody's stuff and support everybody in this community, because if everyone is supported and everyone continues to make videos, we all have something else to watch, and we all have a great way of getting more information, sharing information. And plus, it's great to meet these people at cons, because you're like, hey, we haven't had any cons this year, but hopefully next year, and if not next year, the year after, sometime in the future, we'll all be able to sit down and have a drink and play some war games in person again, which will be fantastic, rather than just having to do everything virtual. But it is great that we're able to do these things virtually. And that's one of the reasons why shows like this are fun, because they keep everyone in touch.
But Vassal is not a replacement for actually, playing the game. I mean, and I'm on the younger end. I should want the digital stuff. But for me, there's something about having the big map spread out in front of you and the counters all over it. Having the rule book, the player's aids, and all that stuff that you need. That's what I enjoy. I don't like playing it on Vassal. If I want to play a computer game, I'll play a computer game. I want to play a board game, I want to play a board game.
See, now John has to go in and has to be the contrarian here. He's saying that he appreciates longer videos, as I'm just usually listening while I'm playing another computer game. So that's
but I do the same stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Going back to the 5-minute videos, because so many people will say that, can you do this shorter? Can you make that? Because, like, for example, I did the video on a brief Border Wars. I did like 30 minutes. I did a kind of like a 8 or 9 minute video, just like a first impressions. And people were like, hey, thanks for the review. I'm like, no, this is not a review. I'm giving you some of my initial thoughts. And then I went and I did the review, and I was still kind of mentally going back to my old written game format, where you got to play the game enough times and you got to kind of talk about in depth, a little bit more depth. So the review was like 30 minutes. And I could see by looking at the analytics, people were hopping through a lot of it. And I was sitting there going, okay, yeah, it goes back to the lends credence to what everybody's saying about doing 5-minute videos. So I look at the 5-minute or the shorter videos. I'm still not at 5. I'm at like 6 to 8 minutes. Just 5-minute is it's a really distant mark right now. Because I want to talk about more than 5 minutes allows, and I know 5 minutes, a rule of thumb is basically 500 words, 5 minutes, 1,000 words, 10 minutes. So it's hard to.
You have to give up on some things.
Well, the thing is, when you do a written reviews are ballpark in the 1,500 word range, 1,500, 2,500. So now you're talking a 20, 25-minute video. But you can read faster than you can do that in a video, especially when you're trying to talk about something and you're pointing something out on a map. There's all that aspect in it too.
Yeah, you got to give someone a few seconds to look at it. If you're referencing a counter, you got to bring the camera in, show the counter, pause for a couple of seconds, then move on to whatever, other aspect. Those few seconds add up very, very quickly.
Oh yeah, they do. They definitely do. And that's why you edit too, because I don't know if you do this, but like when I'm doing a review or even an unboxing, and when I do the previews that I do, I screw up so many times and I redo it. And I just redo it, and then I just cut all that bad part out, because I'll be like, that sounded stupid. I gotta redo it.
I've actually caught myself having seizures during filming.
Oh wow!
Because I have two different types. There's the main ones that people understand what a seizure is, where it's you're shaking and all that. And those don't happen very often. But the ones that happen more often are smaller ones where I just blank out for 10, 20 seconds and the mind just stops. And I'll catch those occasionally when I'm recording a video and I'm talking and you'll see my hand just stop and there's no words. And then 10, 20 seconds goes by and I pick up like there was no pause. But I don't remember that happening when I'm recording it. I don't see it until I go back and I'm recording.
Yeah.
So I have to look at the little audio stream and see if there's any gaps. So if you guys are ever watching my videos and it looks like there's spaces in there where it's kind of odd for it to have a transition, that's why I'm cutting out the dead space and linking it back together.
Yeah, I do that. I do that too. And I'll even, when you do it enough times, you will realize that you screwed something up. And you're like, okay, pause. All right, pick up here. And you just leave an audio cue for yourself where you're going to pick up. And, you learn how to make it easier for yourself. And there's times where I'll shoot something. The absolute worst was I did a full 15-minute video, or so I thought, doing a preview. And
you didn't hit record?
Good, and nailed it. And I was like, son of a bitch, I never hit record. I was like, damn it. And then I did one other time where it was only one segment where I'm like, yeah, it's really good. And I look up at the camera and I'm like, there's no audio. I got no levels. I was like, damn it, I turned my mic off. And I was like, you idiot.
No.
So
I had that happen. My mic got disconnected with one and it only lasted 10 minutes or so during the playthrough of the game. So I ended up just dubbing the audio back over top of it, in the editing process rather than losing all the footage.
Yeah, that's another good thing. But the thing that does suck though with that is you get into a groove and you're just everything's smooth. You're just going with it. And then you're like, man, what did I say? I know I said something that sounded good and I can't remember what the hell it was I said, and then sometimes you'll do it and you're like, oh yeah, that's good enough, and we're our own worst critics anyway. And I look at my videos and I'm like, damn, I find flaws in everything I do. So
do you ever go back and look at some of your original stuff? Bad lighting, bad sound,
terrible lighting,
bad
terrible
angles.
Camera. Oh yeah,
can't
terrible
see
lighting,
anything.
terrible cameras. Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Well, yeah, and then I used to do, and I look back on any of the previews I did before the unboxings. I used to do those in one shot. It was one take, and because I was just like, I'm not editing. I'm just going to throw it up there. This is just for fun. And then I just started getting into it more, and then I kind of came up with a whole, not a system, but a whole way of doing it, and I've been sticking with that and improving upon it little by little each time. And now I look back and I'm like, God, that was awful. Those are terrible. The quality of that video is awful. I just feel like, I got to take it down. I'm like, nah, I'm going to leave it up there. Everybody else has bad videos too from when they started out. So
shit, with the first ones, I didn't understand, editing because I self-taught myself all the video editing software. So I didn't realize I could just chop it up and put it back together however I wanted. So when I wanted a break, like a break in the scene or to move to something else, I'd stop the camera, stop the video, move things around, clear my throat, whatever, start the camera back up. So when I went to edit this stuff together, I'd have 20 video clips that I was trying to plug together instead of just one that I could chop to bits and, put it however I need it. And once I figured out that, it was like 10 times quicker than it had been before.
Yeah.
What, just keep the goofs in? No, keep the goofs in. No.
Plus, if I screw up, I get mad at myself sometimes. I'm like, you effing no. So I kind of can get drill instructor on myself sometimes when I screw up. But so what is the consensus of the audience? Is do you want a 5-minute review, and is that going to be enough? Do you think for a war game to give you a fair sense of the game? Is it when we do 5-minute reviews, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, whatever, under 10 minutes, we'll call it for now, 5 to 10 minutes. Is that enough of a review to give you a good sense? Or is it because you have listened to us enough times and other reviewers, content creators, to know our likes and dislikes and how they compare to yours? And that way you can make a better judgment because you're like, hey, Mo said this is good, and I like similar things that he likes, or he wasn't as crazy about this, but I know he doesn't like these things, and I do. So, and same for Nate. It's like you look at it like, well, Nate loves this, and I love this, and I trust Nate's opinion, or he says it's crap, and yeah, if he says it's crap, I'm going to agree with it. Or, yeah, well, it's something I like, so let me go check it out. How much does that weigh for you guys? And is 5 to 10 minutes enough? Sound off in the chat.
I wonder how many people really trust the reviews anyway. Because as you keep growing and getting bigger, you start getting sponsorships, you start getting review copies, and you start getting more incorporated, I guess you would say. And as that happens, you know, your
internet getting a little wonky, just so you know.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Am I still there?
You're getting a little choppy.
Sorry. Just let me know if it's a problem and I'll
no.
see if I can fix it. But yeah,
just
like,
you know.
I thought about that before I started, you know, when I was watching reviewers to try to figure out what games I wanted to get. You know, if they said that this was a paid promotion or that they had gotten a review copy, I'm like, okay, do they really like the game, or are they being nice because they got something out of it? And that's always something that you got to kind of keep at the back of your mind. Now, I'm honest whether or not I like something, but I don't blame people for being curious, you know, or to have that thought. And people should be skeptical always, you know, think for their best interests. I didn't think I could listen to two jarheads talking for more than 5 minutes. He must be a squid.
Probably, but you know what? That's why we have edible crayons.
Tell me you do not have an actual edible crayon there.
I do. Yeah.
My God. I thought you knew this already. They're all edible.
Well, they're all edible, but I mean, I got like legit edible, not the non-toxic edible. But the those are tasty too, a little more crunchy. So
I will say this is a little off topic, but I've been wanting to make sure I mention this. Academy games. Have you noticed how they've been getting a little more outside of wargaming here recently? Like just standard wargaming, covering some other stuff.
Euros. They've always done Euros.
Well, not just the Euros. They had that racing game that they just kickstarted.
Yeah, that one.
Reality Shift.
Right, that one's definitely way different.
Yeah, that looks freaking awesome. I can't wait to play that one with the missus and the kids. I think they're really going to like that. And I did want to plug one small step because the wife and I have been playing it. And now, while of course it's not the perfect Euro style game, I think if you want one in that theme, right, the space program, that they did a real good job with it. It's good as far as like building your engine, trying to, you know, work your stuff, your engine versus their engine, trying to go for the right moves, trying to get to the moon. We both really enjoyed it. So I wanted to make sure, you know, plug it for them because it is a good game. We don't have to just plug the war games.
True. John says 5-10 minutes good enough if you feel you said what you wanted to say about it. Canada has a show this hour is 22 minutes. Nice.
Canada would have a show called that.
And would say sorry about it. Most of us just want to vicariously experience the actual playing the game through your videos. Playing it myself is almost too much work.
But see, that's the thing. That's why I started my channel in the first place, because I was finding video after video after video of people unboxing or reviewing, and very few videos. The only person I saw who actually played the game was Callendale.
Yeah.
Or the games I was looking at, which was war games.
And he's a whole nother type of guy. He's stream of consciousness, and if you like it, not everybody. It's not for everybody. And I'm not saying this negative. I'm just saying it's not for everybody. Some people want more structure. Some people don't. Some people love it. Me personally, I just, when I'm in the mood, I have to be in the mood for him. And then it's just a total trip. I mean, he's great, you know, because he just goes on and on.
But that's fine. Like, he's covering all the different aspects, everything that he thinks of, what he's thinking when he's looking at all the different parts, doesn't cut out when he's having to look into the rule book. And you got to think all that is little bits of information, because it's kind of showing you what you're going to have to do if you're going to play the game. You know, if this guy who does this professionally and plays games all the time has to spend this much time going back to the rule book, then how much time are you going to have to spend going back to the rule book? That's one of the things that I look at when I watch some of his videos.
And what do you got to do
know.
to fix your internet? Because it's still that way. Every time you talk, it's just like kind of, you got to reset something or?
No, I'm showing good, like full bars here.
Really? It's like really choppy. Hold on 1 second. Let me do something. Okay. I just took you out of the
Kick
screen.
me out.
Yeah, let's see if that resets. I don't think it will, but.
Well, if it becomes a problem, we can
no.
We can cut it. We've been already going about an hour and a half anyway, but I don't want to get it to where it's just Mo talking.
Well, we're getting close to the end of the show anyway, but I wanted to get through these comments here. What is important for me? Did that reviewer really? What is important for me? Did that reviewer really? Person has to put the proper time into the game for me. Yeah, do you put the proper time into a game? And that's true. I mean, if you want to, or you're just sitting there and you're talking about a game in very general terms, or are you pointing out things to the game? And that's one of the things about a review. You got to talk about different aspects of a game, and you can do that in a short review, but that pushes it past that 5-minute mark for me.
Hold up. Think about this though, and we've discussed this before. I think there are plenty of reviewers out there, and I'm not talking about just war game reviewers. I just mean board game reviewers in general, who don't actually play the game. They'll thumb through the rule book, look at the components, maybe show a few aspects of it, but they're not actually playing the game. And I think that's what he's addressing there. Have they actually played the game that they're trying to review? And I don't think all of them do it.
Jeff's a rust picker.
Retired squid. Told you.
Uncle Sam's Misguided Children is the one name that I know.
You sign the
mother effing contract is
contract. Yep. There's I like the Army though. Aren't really Marines yet.
I saw one the other day. It's like every time Marine Corps birthday comes around, everybody posts up all these different funny ones. And they said, like, get ready for all of I was going to join the Marines ones, but I went in the Army instead. I almost joined the Marines, but I joined the Army instead. David Thompson, Baby Herman says, quickest reviews, 5-10 minutes is fine. But I also really want playthrough videos. Doesn't need to be a complete playthrough, but it should be long enough to provide an extended example of play. Good point. That's something I don't do myself. And I've considered doing some playthroughs of some games, but they would be shorter games, and it would only be as I was able to do it. But I can tell you, if I do those, they would not be like we see with other, this is not a knock on how they do it, but I'm not a fan of, maybe some people are, of literally looking over someone's shoulder when they play a game and experiencing the, okay, what was that rule again? Cut all that out. Edit that. You can shoot that hour video and then edit it out and cut it down to 30, 35 minutes, because people don't need to hear you going, ooh, where's that? Oh, where the heck is that counter? That's dead space. Kill it.
Now, I do that. I cut it down when it's just me.
Yeah.
But when I have the missus playing with me, like when we're doing One Small Step, I don't cut that out because it's too hard. Most of the time we're back and forth in conversation anyway, but it just wouldn't really work. And not to mention I have so many cameras going when that's going on that it would just, I'd be too afraid I would chop it up. So I leave all of that in there, like just the whole playthrough session. Now, if we have to pause for something like kids or whatever, I'll cut that out. But the rest of it, I leave as we're making choices. But that's only when we're both playing the game actually together. Yeah, One Small Step is good.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I did get it. I backed it. I pimped the whole thing out. I got everything because it's the Apollo program. I'm like a total space geek, so I'm like loving the whole idea of any space programs. Now, I've also got High Frontier for All came in.
I just got that in.
Did you back on a Kickstarter?
Yeah, I got the upgrade kit because I already had the 3rd edition.
3rd edition, yeah. I've never sat down to play. I had the 3rd edition. I sold it. And I was like, I got to get the 4th edition because it is hard science, sort of game. And it's something that I know there are some local guys here that play it, but it's something I'll probably sit down and try to learn myself sometime. I don't know when.
Did you get everything? that you
Yeah.
ordered. I mean,
Yeah, I got everything. I'm
I-
pretty sure I got everything that I ordered. I got
I
the
would
2
go
modules.
through it.
Why? What
I'm
was missing?
Module
Was-
0.
Really? I got to find
Yeah.
out what that module 0 was now.
That's the politics one. I don't think there was a whole lot to it. I think it was just a wooden cube and some player aid pieces, but that was not included in mine. So I would check to make sure you got that. And were there any stretch goals with that?
I don't think so. I don't recall.
I didn't see a whole lot. So
okay, so David said that you're coming through fine. So okay, good. So then it's just me that's hearing your audio break up, but it's good now.
yeah, I bet you, bud. It's always you.
It's always me.
So yeah,
I'm special.
everybody else. Now the other one in that, well, not in that series, but similar to that, is the Stellar Horizons.
Yeah,
I still need to get that to the table because
I
I've
need
got
to
it.
get a copy of
It's in
that.
the box.
I need to get a copy of that.
Yeah, I ended up getting that from Miniature Market.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to trying that one out.
Nice. Though we have to do Mo and Calendel have to do a face-to-face session on camera. Face-to-face what though? Talk or a review? A game? What is it we have to do? That would be a trip.
It would be you asking a question and him answering it for half an hour.
It would probably be real interesting if I had a bottle and he had his pipe, whatever, and it would be a trip. It would be fun. Maybe. Do
you think that guy has tobacco in that?
I don't know.
There's no way there's tobacco in that thing. He is just too in the zone for that to be tobacco.
That's true. He gets in the zone. It's fun. Yeah, that's true. You know, if you don't actually play the game, you may miss a lot of subtleties that make the game. And that is a good point about reading a rule book and giving a review on that. I'm with you. I know there are people who do that. And it's just, it is what it is. And I think it's part of the reason why some people can crank out a lot of content and others don't. And that's fine. And I don't know how much they play of a game. But everybody does what they're going to do.
You can't just look at volume though. You can't just look at volume.
No,
like Rob puts out a buttload of volume, but he's playing what he's playing. You can tell because he's live streaming it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah.
But you know, like I said, he puts out a bunch. I'm not going to name any names, but I've watched videos in the past where I could tell the person like had not actually played the game because it just, the way that they were describing it didn't really jive with someone who actually played. Yeah,
there's no flow to it.
It felt very stilted, kind of like they had read the manual, they had eyeballed the player aids, and then they were sitting down and just kind of giving an overview, which is fine. And that's perfectly fine if that's what you want to do and kind of give people, hey, these are the highlights of what the game is. But just be upfront that that's what you're doing rather than doing a review per se. Because I think the semantics there matter.
See, that's the thing. Like when I do a review, and I'm trying to work on cutting it down. You know, you can see a couple other reviews I've done where they're 15, 20, 30, whatever minutes long. You can see what I do in my reviews there. And now I'm trying to take that 30 minutes and I'm trying to condense it down because people are saying they want shorter reviews. I've been getting a lot of messages about that. And in a way, it's actually easier. In some ways, it's easier. Some ways, it's harder. Because
we'll do both.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do both. Because my thing is my video shooting time is limited as it is. I don't have the dedicated time. Like you have more time and you have a room that you have set aside for that. I have my gaming area, but it's in an open area and I have to wait till the house is quiet and my wife's out and then I can shoot video. Otherwise my dogs and her, she'll be walking around and be like, what are you doing? Trying to shoot a video. Now I got to redo that whole section. You know, stuff like that. So
my kids are horrible because I'll shoot sometimes while they're awake and I'll go let them know, hey, you gotta be quiet, daddy's gotta work. I need you to stay real calm for daddy for a little bit. And I'll hit record. I'm getting ready to start talking. I'm like, hey, welcome back to everybody's favorite gift with the limp. And then in the background, I hear them, ah, 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 and they choose that moment to scream.
Always.
Yeah. Or the dog starts barking.
And that's true. I think most war game bloggers play the game. That is very true. And how you can, when it comes to reviews, though, when you sometimes I'll write notes. I mean, I always write notes, but sometimes you'll hear a pause, and I almost kind of sound a little stilted when I talk sometimes, because I'm looking at my note and I'm trying to read my handwriting, and I'm like, oh, that's what I said. So sometimes I'll do it twice, because I'll say it, I'm like, yeah, I'm reading too much, and I'm trying to, what was that word? Damn, I can't read in my own handwriting. Okay. And then I figure it out, I decipher it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to reshoot that part. And then I'll say it, and I'll say it in a way that's almost like I'm trying to rush through it to remind myself of what it was, so I don't lose what that word was that I was having trouble with. So sometimes I'll do that. And then others, I just, almost like a Callendale stream of consciousness, I just go. And that's what I do, like with the previews. That's where I was going before, was I'll read about a game, learn about a game, because I think an unboxing is boring. It's like, okay, here's the game, here's some dice, here's some cards, here's the map, here's some counters. Have a nice day. That's, so I wanted to give more background on the game and explain some of the things. I'm not going to tell you the game, teach you the game, but I'm going to give you more background on the game, so that way you know what the game's about and what do the counters do. To a degree, I kind of go over those things. I don't tell you what the counters do, because it's pretty obvious they're counters, but I'll talk about the map. I'll go through the rule book. Some people just flip through it. I like to see the rule book because I want to see what the rules are. And I will pause and I'll look and I'll say, okay, what's the wording like? What's the structure like? Is this a cluster of a rule book? And then people are complaining about a rule book. I'll look at it, the video version. I'll say, yeah, I see what they're saying, or I'll download a copy, but it's easier to just have somebody flip through it right in front of your face rather than go download it and flip through it yourself. If it's there, it's there. So just look at it while someone's showing it. But yeah, it's tough.
Have you ever caught yourself accidentally leaving sections in, though? Like I've done that in the past, where I've left in a section where I start to say something, choke on the word, say something stupid, whatever. And I'm like, okay, stop, re-say that part, and keep on going. And then I forget to cut it out when I'm doing the editing, and I catch myself in double speak.
Oh, I've done. Oh, nice. I just got an update. Oh,
from
sweet. Friday. Yeah, Friday. I'll be getting a box from Battlefront Miniatures.
What is it?
Another glorious day in the core.
Is that coming in?
It's on its way to me now. It'll be here Friday.
I ordered the entire package from.
That's what I got, the big package from
Miniature Market.
Oh, you got it from
I get it from Miniature Market.
So you probably get it about the same time. Probably.
They had they tend to run a little later, I think. Is that the publisher, Gale Force 9?
That's the publisher, yeah.
I think you're going to get it sooner than me, probably, you lucky bastard. I've been looking forward to that.
Maybe by a few days or a week. It won't be that much, because there are already people who have gotten theirs from Battlefront. So
they included something, though. I remember if you ordered all the expansions, you got something extra from Miniature Market.
Yeah, you get
Did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was? I couldn't remember what it was. I just remembered I was supposed to get something extra with it. And I'm definitely going to have to paint these minis.
True.
Although I'm painting a bunch right now. I've almost finished all my Blood Bowl teams. I'm going to do a big, just FYI for everybody, I've got a big Blood Bowl series coming up in the new year. 8 different teams, and there's going to be playoffs. And I'm just going to do it over the course of the year. Right? So I got Lizardmen, Chaos, Humans, Orcs, Dwarves, Goblins, my team, Nurgle, my little boy's team, Undead, the wife's team, the Lizardmen. Yeah, everybody's got their own little team. Well, she liked them because they looked the most like frogs.
There you go.
So, yes, that series is coming, and I'm also looking into doing Last Days Zombie Apocalypse. So I'm actually painting some zombies right now as well.
So John says 5 minutes max on an unboxing. Don't really need explanatory phrases like semi-glossy, high porosity, 20 bond rulebook paper. Somehow, some way, I'm going to try to work that into a preview. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do the same.
I'm going to have to be like, this is some really fantastic semi-glossy, high porosity, 20 bond rule paper rulebook paper, fantastic quality.
Look, I want to let people know if the counters are thick, if the card stock's thick or not. That quality. But honestly, I hate it when they make shit glossy because it reflects all my damn lighting.
It reflects off everybody's lighting. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to find the perfect angle.
It's great when you have a lot of images because the colors really are vibrant and they pop and they look great. But if it's text dense, you want it to be on regular paper because it's not going to have that gloss and that shine. And you can also write notes on it better. If you need to write notes or, underline, highlight anything, it works better when it's on a regular matte paper.
Speaking of which, I got to send you a link to the lighting I'm using now because it's different from the studio lighting I usually use.
Okay.
I'm using, it's garage LED light bulbs. It's the ones that fan out. Actually, the light that's around me now, it's one light that's lighting up this entire back room. And it's not even pointing at me. It's pointing up. So that's like how much light this stuff puts off. It's freaking great, but they're expensive. They're like $30 a pop.
See, I've got bar lighting here. So I go if we go next door to the brighter bar, it looks like this. So it's a little brighter, but I like back in the old bar. So I hang out here.
I just go to my little smoke pit out back.
Nice. But see, now the reason I wanted to get obviously everybody loves aliens. Well, most people, I don't want to say everybody, but most people like aliens. And I got both Another Glorious Day in the Core game. And then I also got the Alien RPG because I don't really do a lot of RPGs, but it's aliens. So I'm like that whole universe is so cool to play in. So I bought in on it. Haven't had.
But who are you going to play it with?
Well, the one thing about that is we can do that online. So I just have to sit down and try to learn it whenever I get a chance. But I'm working on other stuff to get through it in GM. And I've never GM'd, so that would be a whole different ball game itself. But it'd be kind of fun to GM because then you can kind of decide when to be vicious to people, when not to be vicious, and I think it would be kind of neat. But you
probably shouldn't be the GM because you'll just be like vicious.
No, well, the whole point of being a GM is creating a good story. And the thing about the RPG that I think is really cool is there's cinematic and then there's there's two different versions, cinematic and then there's the campaign style. Campaign style is you level up your character, you're going to maintain persistence throughout a story. Campaign is just like the movies. You're all in, you're all going to die. That's just the way it is. And everyone knows that going into it because they tell you this. So it's kind of cool to go in there. And then when you die, you get another character. You get like a generic character. So the gamer is not out of the game. They just lose their character. So don't get too invested in Hudson or whoever because they're going to die and you're going to end up just being a generic grunt.
Yeah, but not all of them die, though. Ripley made it.
But I mean, in this game, it's supposedly the way it's designed, it's fairly vicious and it will kill you. And I think that's kind of neat when you go in there, because if everybody goes in there understanding this is going to be brutal and a lot of you are going to die, but you'll get a backup character just to keep playing, because you don't want to have somebody die in the first 5 minutes and then the game's over. That happened to me with Dead of Winter. When I played that, first time I played that, I was like, we go through this whole setup and I get like the 2 bites, like instant. I was like, are you kidding me on my first roll? And I was like, wow, this is not a good first impression for this game. And then we played another time and it was similar and it was a similar outcome. Nobody helped out and I ended up dying. And then I played a third time and I lasted, but there was the whole trader mechanic and I was like, it just didn't resonate with me. But, so I'm hoping this will be vicious, but not too vicious. And that's the point of the GM is you have to walk it back at the right time to where it's vicious, but you don't always kill people right out of the gate. Sometimes you can, but you have to find that balance to where it's enjoyable. There's a time when a player needs to die. It's like they're not getting out of this. They just fell off a cliff and it's a sheer cliff face and it's 1,000 feet down. There's no way, unless they had jump jets on or something like that, jump pack on their back or something, but
Marine can survive.
Well, maybe you can have that. They grab the side of the ledge and you can try to rescue them, but you have to, as a GM, you have to find out where those the good spots are to keep the story going, keep the interest there, but at the same time, don't make it too vicious, don't make it too ridiculous either, because then people will say, well, there's no point. I can do whatever I want. He's not going to kill me. But you don't want them too timid to where they say, I'm afraid to take a step because I might die. So you have to find that balance to make the story, make them paranoid, but don't make them afraid to not play. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I've never played a game like that. I prefer the RPG in the box, kind of like,
Sure.
Another glorious day in the core. I just want to have it there. I want to see stuff.
Skirmish game.
I want to move my little characters around, have my fun with it.
And it's
Twilight
the same company,
2000. I don't know that one.
It's the same company. It's a reprint of, an update and all that stuff of the old game, Twilight 2000. So that was an old RPG, and it's being redone by Free League Publishing, who also did Aliens.
Okay, so it's not like Twilight, the sparkly vampire thing.
No.
Decent use of the word Twilight.
No, the only sparkly the only sparkly things in that would be if anybody gets hit with Willie Pete. Other than that, there's no sparkles.
I'll tell you, there's one coming out, speaking of vampires, and I backed this one on Kickstarter, was that Vampire Masquerade Kickstarter they had. I don't know if you saw that one.
No, I did not.
But I ended up backing that, and it seems like it's more of a mix between the RPG that you were just talking about and a traditional board game. So might be one that you would be interested in trying out.
Sounds good. I'll have to check it out now
David
before we go to further. Mr. David Thompson's exiting the building. Baby Herman's got to go get some baby sleep. Have a good one, Dave.
Dude, the guy's got 4 kids.
That's true.
He's a man that's working his tail off, especially with as many games as he's got releasing.
That's true. He is coming out with a whole bunch of them, and they're all fantastic.
Yeah, he's got the next in the Valiant Defense. He's got a sniper game that either just was or is getting ready to go to Kickstarter.
I think it was on Kickstarter, wasn't it?
Was already on Kickstarter?
I think so.
Yeah, it was already on Kickstarter because I remember talking to him about it. So he had that one, and then he had the horror one. I can't remember the name of it, but he had a horror, kind of like Friday the 13th theme, but not Friday the 13th game that he helped design as well.
Yeah. And
then By Stealth at Sea just released, and then the Undaunted Normandy, the newest one there, and then our Valiant Defense. I already said, I mean, the guy's got like a bajillion games coming out. I'm starting to really think he's not human. I think he is an alien sent down here to create board games.
Well, you did see the news that allegedly Israel and the U.S. is already in touch with the aliens, so maybe he's on the exchange program.
I saw that mentioned, but I didn't know what the specifics were about it. I hadn't had a chance to look the story up yet.
Well, I think there's proof right there. David Thompson is an alien, and he's on the exchange program. So that's why he's able to crank out these games.
Real quick, give me the lowdown on that. What was it? Israel said they had proof of aliens, and they just put it out on the internet or something?
I saw it, and I just kind of glanced, and I glanced at it real quick. Allegedly, who is it? The guy, the Israeli space agency, one of these retired guys from the Israeli space agency or space program, said that aliens are here, and the U.S. has a contract with them, and Trump knows this, and he was about to tell everybody. This is where it totally went off the rails for me. It's like, Trump knows about it. It really is a thing. We have a contract with the aliens, and Trump was going to tell everybody, but he was asked not to tell anybody. I was like, okay, that's where the story loses all legitimacy for me. Who the hell is going to ask Trump to do anything, and he's going to agree to it? He'd be like, that guy, we got aliens. They're beautiful. They're huge. He would go on and on. He would want to tell everybody about those. There's no way in hell you'd be able to shut him up. So yeah, that totally, it could have been legit if he said U.S. knows about this and dropped it at that. But when he said Trump knows about it, he was going to tell everybody, but then they asked him not to say anything. No, absolutely not. There's no way he could keep his mouth shut on that.
I always figured if aliens are real, that they've hidden it from Trump for 4 years, because the moment he found out, he would be calling a news conference. Hey, let me tell you about the aliens. Very fine
huge news, beautiful news. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
it would be.
They're all orange, just like me. I'll tell you what, that would be funny.
That would be. And then
He gave a speech on. Wait, go back. What was he saying? He gave a speech on his research and dropped dead during the presentation. Okay, that's scary.
On what aspect? Aliens?
Yeah, he's got to be talking about the aliens.
Now, you need to tell us now, Stigler, was that aliens? Because if it was, then maybe we should walk back what we were saying about David.
It wasn't that guy that was saying that he had part of his hand and chest burned by an alien plasma bolt, was it? Did you ever see that guy?
No.
Oh, this was years ago. This guy went around. He was some type of engineer, and he would talk at all these alien conventions and explain how he went into an underground alien base, and there was him and some special forces, and there was a fight, and he got shot, and special forces got killed, and I mean, he was maimed. Like, he only had 2 fingers on his hand. He had this burn mark on his chest, and he always claimed that, you know, I'm not going to kill myself. They're going to kill me. And, you know, I'm telling you now, I'm not suicidal. And he ended up being found dead of suicide. I'll have to see if I can, find the guy's name. I mean, it was interesting to listen to him talk about the stuff.
That does sound a little different. Jeff is saying, anybody remember Recon Dog Game? Military style RPG. I do not remember that. A Recon Dog Game? Sounds interesting.
I think the closest we had to something like that was like Ambush.
Matt, it's the greatest contract with aliens anybody's ever seen. Tremendous, beautiful, huge.
No, the dude talked about it. He was saying that the U.S. government had a deal that they could abduct people and mutilate animals and shit, but only like so many, that they couldn't just like take a bunch. Like, they got a few thousand a year or some shit.
Oh, it's about OJ being innocent and his son doing the deed.
There's so many conspiracy theories out there.
That's true. So now Jeff is saying it was Vietnam to 80s plus mercenary rules. Now, I'm not familiar with that one. That one sounds different. Now, I'm curious about that one. Some of those older games are kind of cool, but you know, you explore some different things and it's a lot of fun. But so last thing here before we close out for the night, for Christmas, did you get anything for yourself?
Me? No.
Yeah.
Well, unless you count Cyberpunk 2077. But
nice.
I mean, I was going to get that anyway, so it's not really like it's a Christmas gift.
Do you know computer game? Does that have multiplayer?
Not that I know of, and I don't think it would be conducive to multiplayer.
Not because you're ships.
I mean, if you're each controlling your own ship, you could, and kind of like Wolfpack it. Yeah. But I don't think it would work because there's time dilation, right? So you would have to coordinate it. There's a lot of getting yourself in the right position and then speeding up time until the enemy ship comes into the line of fire and then firing off your torpedo. Controlling, it's kind of like the board game in a way, because you have to control your troops in the boat, make sure they're fed, keep the water pumped out, you know, make sure they're sleeping, all that other type stuff, right? It
sounds like The Sims. It sounds like The Sims.
Yeah, I mean, if you put your Sims in a U-boat and we're shooting at, you know, enemy shipping in the Atlantic and Mediterranean.
It's got that sim aspect where you're probably spending more of the game doing that, managing your crew, than you are. I mean, it's like, dude, really? You're hungry. You're a friggin' adult. There's the galley. I mean, really? No. I mean, do you need to nudge the guy over there? You know,
I told you, I watched some videos and it does not appear to be. I mean, you can do a lot with your crew, but you don't have to be overly focused. Just making sure that you have enough provisions, enough fuel, keeping track of how many torpedoes and deck gun and stuff like that.
Sure.
For the most part, you can put your guys on autopilot.
Okay.
And they'll do whatever they need. So they'll go eat on their own and they'll go do all that crap. But if you need them to do something specific, like man the deck gun, you go tell them, man the deck gun.
Now that does bring up a good point. Now it's got me intrigued, because what happens if you've got a guy that is constantly slacking? I'd be like, man the deck gun. Get him up there. Dive, dive, dive.
Submerge.
Dive the boat. 5 degree down bubble. We're taking him down. And I'd be like, that would get rid of that dude real quick. But that would be, I'm going to check that out now. Now I'm curious about it.
Most of the people you're keeping track of aren't really there. They're all abstracted. There's only a handful of guys you actually keep track of. So it's like your officers are the individuals that you maintain control of. And then after that, it's just generic crew that's listed. So you don't have to worry about 40 guys in a sub. You've got 5, 6, whatever, captain and XO and a few guys. But you can take control of the deck gun, the flag gun. It was fun watching the guy shoot these ships up. He ran out of torpedoes and deck gun ammo, and he had a ship that was damaged but not sunk. And he's like, I'll light him up with the HE from the flag gun, see if we can sink it. And he set the ship on fire and sunk it with his last rounds. You know, it's real interesting looking game.
This is true. Until your Sims jumping up and down telling you they got to go potty. That is true.
Yes.
That would be funny. But that does sound kind of cool. Now, the way you could do the Wolfpack aspect is pretty simple. If you were to play multiplayer, just match up with whoever, and then it would put you in a sector together. And you would be within a few thousand yards of a ship or a convoy or whatever. And then you could work from there, would be the way I would think would be the best way to do a multiplayer for that. Instead of having
that's kind of how the missions are set. They'll tell you X, Y, Z warship has been seen in this sector. See if you can find it, but sink enemy shipping while you're there. You know.
So you have to work up not only the solution, but you also have to work up the identification and stuff on the ship, or you let the crew do that.
No, it'll show like the bottom left panel had a thing where you could kind of click through it and see the different outlines of the ships.
Yeah.
So you could determine what type of ship it is. The guy was doing the manual thing where he would mark it, let the enemy ship sail along, mark him after 3 minutes or 3 minutes and I think 15 seconds is what he said to determine how fast he was going. Like, okay, yeah, he's going 7 knots, and then he'd program that to TDC to fire the torpedo. No, it looked like a good sub sim type game. More sub sim and less sims.
Yeah, no, that does sound interesting. Now, has anybody in the audience played it? If you have, chime in real quick with your thoughts, because I'm curious now before we sign off if anybody's played that, because I'd like to hear some more about that. But I'm going to check now and see if that has multiplayer, because if it does, I'll get it and we'll have to hook up and play. Do you have Steam or not?
Yeah, Steam.
Well, that's right. You do have Steam. I've given you Steam games before.
Yeah. Make sure you check out Cold Waters as well, because that's the Cold War era of the submarine game. Have you played that one?
I believe I have that, but it's like every other damn game in the Steam library. Just like every war game everybody gets. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get it. And then never get to it.
What, kind of like the digital version of Gary Grigsby's War in the East? War in the West? Or...
Pretty much get it and then never play it, or you start and then you're like something pulls you away and you don't go back. But
Admiral's edition of War in the Pacific.
Let me see. I could pull up my Steam list real fast and I'll tell you if I have Cold Waters or not. I know I've got that. I've got a bunch.
No, I got that one because I've always wanted to play War in the Pacific, but I don't think I could ever play the actual war game. But the digital version I probably do.
John says no, but I have played Mousetrap with worker placement.
I have to flesh that one out for me a bit. I liked Mousetrap when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's the kind of the point. Let me see. Cold Waters. I got it right here. Yes, I do. I have Cold Waters. I have Shimano, and I've got Command Silent Service. All of these I have, but I've not played. Dangerous Waters. Whole bunch of other ones too. And the funny thing is it keeps coming back to it. When you get all these games, it's the shooters that you'll get jumped right into because it's action and it's easy to play those things. And now that I said that, I bought an Xbox One last year and I played it for about a month and then I haven't been back to it. So it's like too much crap going on. It's like I need to get back to playing it. But the Call of Duty in that was really good.
Nah,
you got a one. You have a one?
Sucks.
You have a one?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Call of Duty's great, dude. I mean, if you just want to go in there, shoot some stuff up, and then play against zombies, hell yeah.
I gave up on Call of Duty years ago because they just kept releasing the same game with a different name year after year after year.
But this latest one that they did, the physics engine feels a lot better. The graphics are fantastic, but the physics engine feels a little bit different. It feels kind of like a cross between the old Call of Duty, which is just frenetic action, and kind of a sim sort of movement where you're not moving at 100 miles an hour. You're moving a little more realistically. So
Well,
I thought that was kind
they
of
moved away from a Call of Duty game with an excellent campaign with a good multiplayer tacked on that people would play until the next one, to a mediocre campaign that was short to no campaign at all. Right? And when they started doing that crap where there was no campaign, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Well, War in the Pacific will take years to play with many clicks with the mouse. I absolutely believe it.
That's true. All right, Jeff is going to be signing off as well. So we got everybody signing off, and we're getting ready to sign off ourselves for the evening. We are going to do one more show before the end of the year. And right now we're looking at the 22nd. So it'll be Christmas week. We figure we'll have more of a Christmas show and have a little more fun with it because it'll be Christmas week. And maybe we'll get some stuff in between now and, then, where we can show some stuff off, talk about some things, stuff like that. So I know.
Make sure you guys tune in for the giveaways that I'm doing.
Oh, what giveaways?
They're
Talk
in the
about your
process.
giveaways.
The winner for the Nations at War, the first one that I'm giving away, has already been decided. I got that one drawn today. The video is going up tomorrow. And I'm going to have By Stealth and Sea and Shores of Tripoli.
Nice.
It's the prototype versions. So since I'm giving away both of those as a package in the next video. So after that, there should be 3 more videos total. So there's going to be like 5 or 6 games total that are going to be given away. And the last one is very big, do your Trump voice. Very big, very awesome.
Very big, very awesome. It sounded like Arnold. It's going to be very big. It's going to be awesome. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Going to be huge. It's going to be a big one. You got to check out my pal Gimpy. He's going to do a great, great giveaway. The biggest ever, the most beautiful. It'll be beautiful, people. I'm telling you. He's a beautiful person.
So the last giveaway is definitely huge. Make sure you stay tuned for that. And all you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment to be entered to win. That's it.
There you go. Now, Matt says Call of Duty is like the Madden of killing people, and I agree with that. And that's what makes it fun, though. It's just to turn off the brain and just, it's a Twitch game. And there is a mode that I played because I don't get into the multiplayer too much because too many idiots. But there is a multiplayer mode in this new Call of Duty that I played because I haven't played in several years that allows you to play cooperatively against the bots. And I was like, wow, that's really cool because that's something that you can play with just your friends and laugh and have fun, just like it was with the zombies. Zombies were great for that because you'd be like somebody would be off, running away from a zombie that's sprinting after him, like, dude, come over here, help me. Oh my God, I'm going to die. And you're like, where are you, bro? You run after him and you shoot that zombie or whatever. That is fun. That is a ton of fun, and it's a great time waster. So that's what I do like about those games. I'm not going into it for hardcore simulation. I'm going into it for the fun, especially when I can play with people I know.
Yeah. My brother and I used to play it all the time.
And then Vex is saying we have to wear Santa hats. So we're going to have to get Santa hats.
I might have one in the house. I'll have to take a look.
Nice. So Matt is saying, instead of giving something to the viewer, do a contest where a random viewer has to send you a game. That's a nice
Case
idea.
Blue.
You can send Case Blue to Gimpy.
Yeah.
Nice.
There are some that you don't necessarily want to play. You just kind of want to have it on your shelf.
That's true. Well, and eventually how you justify this, that's my retirement game. Now I'm getting closer to retirement, so I'm looking at those things. So that's a good thing. But anyway, like I said, we're going to end here for the evening and appreciate everybody tuning in tonight as we do every episode. And we'll be looking at the 22nd, doing the next one for a little Christmas show, end of the year wrap up, and maybe even bringing some people on to have some fun and maybe even some of the viewers can join in as well. If you've got a camera and a mic, we'll talk about that during the show, and we'll maybe bring some people in and out throughout the evening that have been participating all year. And, like I said, this is a fun time of year, and we should have as much fun as we can, especially being that we're not able to get out and have as much fun as we normally do. So I appreciate you being here tonight, Nate. And of course, for our other co-host, Kev Sharp, he had to leave for a basketball game. But we appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next show on the 22nd.